The Scotsman Army are arriving in America in their tours with World Cup 2026 set to begin tomorrow. In today's Scotsman World Cup podcast, we got to head to the start of the tournament in Scotland to open it against Haiti at the weekend. Hello and welcome to the Scotsman World Cup podcast as we count down the hours, the minutes and the seconds before the start of the World Cup in North America. Once again, I'm delighted to be joined by our chief football correspondent over in America, Alan Pattullo. Alan, how's the jet lag? Have you acclimatized yet?
Yeah, getting there, slowly but surely. Another nice day here in Charlotte, if you can see behind me. I don't know if you can see that. Off to a press conference in a little while, in about an hour or so, at the Charlotte training base where Scotland are based. So another full day ahead, and I'm even going to don some football boots later. I think we've got a media game against the SFA backroom staff. So yeah, I've got to. I can give you a report on that tomorrow, what it's like playing in the intense heat of North Carolina.
I want man-by-man ratings, Alan.
I'm also joined by the Edinburgh Evening News and Scotsman writer and loyal Tottenham Army supporter, Barry Anderson. Barry, your first time on the show, but obviously everyone will know who you are. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks. My envy knows no bounds where Alan's concerned over these next couple of weeks. So he's a man in the place where everybody wants to be, or at least where all Scottish people want to be, I think.
Is that for the World Cup or the media game that's taking place today? Where's the jealousy coming from?
Bit of both, I think.
Fantastic. Alan, you said there's a press conference coming up. Obviously, the World Cup's coming up in just over 24 hours. Do we know who we've got up on the podium today?
Yeah, well, it's Aaron Hickey. I think these things do tend to change in the last minute, but that's the last info we got was Aaron Hickey. So yeah, interesting one. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to sitting down with him and seeing what he's got to say. Obviously, a big couple of weeks ahead for him, and given all his injury troubles in the past, and it's just great. I mean, it's just so good to see him out here, isn't it? Because there was a time not so long ago when you actually feared for his participation in this World Cup. But I think Barry would agree with me that seeing him lining up at the weekend will give the Tottenham Army a lot of confidence, I think, see what he and Ben Gannon-Doak can do, what kind of damage they can do.
Ask him about Brooklyn Beckham as well, Alan. He's good. Apparently, he's good pals with Brooklyn Beckham.
Oh, is that right? That's a good one, Barry, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, we will. Anything else, Barry? Any other Hearts associated detail, perhaps?
Sorry, I'm saying Brooklyn Beckham. It's Romeo Beckham. I'm getting the two of them mixed up. It's Romeo Beckham. The Romeo, but that spell of Brent. So
because he had that spell there, didn't he?
Yeah. So they apparently got quite close and a few nights out and things like that, socialised together. So I don't know. He might speak a bit about that. But you're right on Hickey. I mean, great to see him back. I'm a big fan of Nathan Patterson, but I think both Patterson and Hickey, let's be honest, have injury issues and have had injury issues over the last few years. So you'd never know just if you're going to have one of them available for a sustained period of time. So it's always good to have the other one there. But the fact we've got two of them in this squad is terrific. And I agree with Alan. I think Hickey at right back is a massive boost for Scotland when he's fit.
Barry, I wanted to stick with you. Like I said at the top of the show, it's like just 24 hours till the tournament gets underway, and we've got Mexico versus South Africa. Look, it's maybe not the most exciting game on paper, but the Azteca Arena, obviously a fantastic stadium, fantastic atmosphere, 83,000, I think. We've got Shakira and we've got Burna Boy performing as well. Are you in World Cup mode yet?
I'm getting there. I mean, I took the decision probably about a month ago that I wasn't going to go. Sadly, a few kind of personal reasons, things going on here. So decided I'm just going to give myself a watching brief. And as I say, my envy is growing when you see all these pictures on social media, Scotland fans going out there and some that are already arrived and things like that. But I just hope everybody enjoys it and has a great time, stays safe, and hopefully we see a wee bit of history and get the team out this group. But yeah, I mean, the Azteca, what a stadium. The last World Cup game that it would have hosted would have been the 1986 final. when Argentina beat West Germany 3-2. Burashaga's winning goal with minutes to go. So yeah, what a bit of history that is.
Yeah, no, it's Azteca. It really is. I mean, there's so many associated problems with this World Cup, isn't there? You know, the controversies that are going on. But when it comes down to it, the Azteca, it still has that allure, doesn't it? It's still, you know, it's still a place where transcendent football moments, you know, tend to take place, isn't it? And we can think of all the, well, Barry just mentioned that, the 86 World Cup, obviously Diego Maradona and against England. And it's just, it's just one of these iconic stadiums. And you can't help but think, you know, you can't help but get excited and think, well, you know, for all the problems of this World Cup, you know, the Azteca, it'll come down to very much the football there tomorrow night. I think Ian Maxwell, actually, the SFA chief executive, he's flying into Mexico City to attend that game. So I think all the dignitaries will be there, and it really will be I think we will really get the feel that the World Cup is starting with a bang tomorrow.
How many times have you been to the Azteca, Alan? You know, a regular there.
Yeah, just the once. But I saw Ollie McBurney hit the bar there with a header. Things might have been so different if that ball had been just a couple of inches lower down and had gone in, and his first goal in the Azteca for Scotland. And who knows, you know, he might be the number 9 this World Cup now. Yeah. But it's funny, isn't it, how these moments, football can hinge on these moments. But yeah, I was there for that tour. I think it was 2019 when Scotland went over to South America, played Peru in Lima. I went up to Mexico City for a friend against Mexico with a very sort of rump squad, if you remember, Barry. You know, Scott McKenna was skipper that night. I mean, age whatever he was, 21, I think, or something. And Scott Bain in goals, and as I say, Ollie McBurney up front. It was a strange kind of Scotland squad. Alex McLeish was manager at the time, but you know, performed fairly creditably. I remember certainly against Mexico, just lost 1-0, I think. But yeah, it was good to say I've been there. But I think it's been heavily refurbished since the Azteca for this World Cup, hasn't it? I think I saw some pictures of it recently. It looks fairly different, actually. But yeah, still a name that conjures all these great World Cup memories, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it makes history as well tomorrow by being, I think, the first place to host 3 World Cup openers. I could be slightly wrong with that, but it's something along that lines. I believe it makes history tomorrow. We've got 3 different opening ceremonies as well. Obviously, the main one being in America, then in Toronto the day after that, and then sort of early hours of our morning, it will be in Los Angeles in America. But before I move on from the opener, Alan, a little bit of a disappointment that that's not going to be at the final. I know a few people have said that, you know, as great as the stadium is, it's a bit of a shame that one's not actually the final as opposed to the opener. Obviously, we've got it in America instead, and the MetLife, I believe, the final. But slight disappointment it's not in such an amazing arena such as the Azteca.
Yeah, I guess, you know, I think I would prefer the final to be at the Azteca, but yeah, that's the politics of this tournament means it isn't going to be there. And Canada and Mexico have very much smaller slices of the cake, don't they, compared to America, who really is the dominating. Although it's a co-hosted World Cup, but it feels very much dominated by America, doesn't it?
Yeah, most definitely it does, and I think that may be a podcast on its own. But look, Barry, we'll move on to Scotland, where I think 3 days or so, give or take, depending on what day you class as Scotland are playing. Is it the 13th, 14th? Will be the 14th for us. But we talked off air before about previous tournament experiences, and sadly for us, we're all old enough to remember Scotland last time at the World Cup in 1998. I believe yourself and Alan were there. But you know, what are your memories of the tournament itself, and of course, most importantly, that opener against Brazil in '98 where John Collins scored?
Main memory is lager, I think. It's probably outstanding memory. I was 19 at the time, but yeah, I mean, I've got lots of great memories. That opening game, I was with one of my mates, my dad, my stepmom, auntie and uncle and all that were there, so there's quite a few of us. We didn't have tickets for that opening game against Brazil, so we watched it on a big screen in Paris. We had tickets for the next game against Norway down in Bordeaux, so obviously got the train down there. Yeah, I mean, when Collins scores that goal and you're at 1 each, you know, you've conceded for me, a cheap early goal to Cesar Sampaio. head of a corner, and then you win the penalty, score it, and you think, right, we're right back in this, just get a foothold, try and make sure, we don't do anything silly. And then, of course, minutes to go, true Scotland fashion, we managed to score an own goal. I don't think you could blame Tom Boyd the way it ricocheted off him, but it was a sickener, it really was. So, yeah, I mean, the whole trip, I loved it. One of the best things I've ever done in my life was going to attend the World Cup. Managed to bump into the Brazil squad a couple of days after that opening game in Euro Disneyland Paris at the time. And it was a funny story. I was trying to get Danielson's autograph. He was surrounded by a few security guards, so I was trying to point behind me I had a number on the back of my shirt, and I was trying to point to the number to get him to sign it. So as I swung my right arm back to point over my shoulder the number, I managed to punch one of his security guards square in the jaw. So that was another enduring memory. But yeah, I mean, these things at that time, we all thought, oh, this was, Scotland are regulars at these tournaments, and we were already kind of loosely planning to go to the 2000 European Championships in Belgium and Holland, and of course that didn't materialise, and then such a long wait to get back to this point again. So yeah, I hope everybody that's there just enjoys it and savours it and takes it all in.
So the same question to you as well, Alan. Look, I don't think anyone would have imagined when you left that Scotland game against Morocco in France 98 that it would take this long for Scotland to be back. But look, they're there, they're back, and we're seeing all the Scotland fans going over there. The amazing photos from Edinburgh Airport, Glasgow Airport. How's it feeling over there? Is that kind of excitement building up, and what are your memories and how different does it feel?
Yeah, no, definitely. Excitement is building here. Certainly in the Scotland camp. We were out last night for a bite to eat, and I wouldn't say Charlotte is exhibiting too many signs of being caught up in World Cup fever quite yet itself. I mean, there was what was on last night was a big gig at the Charlotte FC Stadium. It's a Post Malone and Jelly Roll, a double act. They're a joint stadium tour. So that was on last night. So the place was absolutely crowded. I mean, it must have been at 60,000 people at the gig. So yeah, I mean, life is continuing as normal here, but certainly in the little hub of the Scotland training centre, you can just really are feeling it, and you get it from the players as well. My goodness, Craig Gordon. Speaking to Craig Gordon yesterday, and there's a 43-year-old, and yet still sounded pretty giddy at the prospect of possibly lining up for Scotland at a World Cup. And yeah, my own memories of France '98 were I loved hearing Barry's memories there of being in France for the Brazil game. I was actually in Edinburgh. I just started working at the Scotsman a few weeks beforehand, and we were all hands to deck, putting out a pull-out supplement for the following day. We decided to do that. The Scotsman was it was a broadsheet paper at the time, but we had a sort of tabloid-sized supplement for the day after each of the 3 Scotland group games. So it was I remember being very busy watching it on the TV in the office and writing whatever. I can't remember what I was writing about, but yeah, I was feeling the way Barry is feeling. He says he's feeling now. I was very jealous of my colleagues who were all out at the game. Although I did travel across for the Morocco game, the last game, as a fan. I had tickets for that game, so I was allowed to have a couple of days off. So off I went, and a pretty bleak evening in Saint Etienne. Obviously losing 3-0, and yeah, you kind of thought, unbelievably, it's taken 28 years to have the chance to atone for that night, but here we are, and I can't wait. I mean, I've been to obviously World Cups. I've been to World Cups since. Very luckily, I was at Japan and South Korea in 2002. It kind of has the same feel as this one. Actually, it was a huge, a big tournament across 2 countries and a lot of traveling, a time difference. It kind of it was tough going covering actually, but yeah, the excitement. I mean, obviously it was great being there, but you kind of always felt just that something was missing. So, Scotland not being there, it was something was definitely missing. So it's great finally to be here, and yeah, Scotland are here, and just feels fantastic. And I Graham, asked about the sort of building excitement. I was lucky enough to have a friend who sent me a message a few days ago. He has 3 tickets for the game which was selling at a very reasonable price. And I wondered if I knew of anybody, and I did know of somebody, a friend of mine, a university friend who lives in Toronto now, who's got a couple of football-obsessed daughters. So I texted her, and she sent me a video of her telling her daughter that we had these tickets, and they were going to drive down to Boston for the Scotland v Haiti game. I think it's about a 4 or 5 hour drive, and it was just incredible. She was just fell to her knees and was crying. And it was just, it brought me to tears too. I mean, you could tell it meant so much that she was going to be able to go and see a World Cup game, because prior to that, the tickets in Toronto, certainly they were so expensive they couldn't hope to go. But so she was delighted, and I'm looking forward to seeing them, and obviously looking forward to seeing many Scotland fans at the game on Saturday night. And I do wonder, I don't know if you guys know anything different. I just wonder if it is going to be a sellout. Yeah, who knows? Is it going to be 65,000 people there? I don't know. Be interesting to see how many Scotland fans are there, certainly.
It's nice to hear the positive stories. Of course, we know there's a couple of things that maybe we would change, individually, and that hasn't been great coming back. But, ultimately, seeing people going to football games and being overjoyed and being able to go to it, it is the kind of thing that brings you. The World Cup is the elite tournament in world football. But you touched on the game there as well, and it is edging closer. Like with the tournament tomorrow, I think that'll begin to get real, and then before you know it, it's 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday or Saturday, whatever it is. I'm losing track of my days here, and it's underway here, Alan. But we discussed about Craig Gordon and Angus Gunn yesterday. We felt that Angus Gunn would probably get out just based on a couple of things, but it's not the only talking point. I think Shankland's done himself absolutely no harm, and I would be shocked if he doesn't start on Saturday. But there's formation discussions, there's who plays at the back, there's plenty of things to discuss. How would you like to see Scotland line up on Saturday / early hours of Sunday morning? And same to you, Barry, when Alan's gives his thoughts.
Yeah, well, we were talking about this again last night, and it's been a constant topic of discussion, isn't it? What is Steve Clarke going to do? And it's fascinating. I'd like to see, Graham, you mentioned there, I'd like to see Lawrence Shankland start, and I think it would be incredible if he didn't start now. He's just seemed to, talk about playing your way into contention. You can't do much more than what Lawrence Shankland has done in the last couple of games, and certainly towards the end of the season as well, even in his club form. So I'd like to see him start in a two with Shea Adams. I think they did themselves no harm against Bolivia. So certainly 2 up front, and then I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? The centre back partnership. It's still kind of up for debate slightly. I was thinking Jack Hendry might start with Scott McKenna, but a lot of guys are thinking maybe Grant Hanley has done enough to start. So we'll see. Jack Hendry and Hanley maybe a centre half partnership, and then obviously Hickey on the right and Roberts on the left. And I'm interested to hear what Barry thinks about who might be left out. There's so many choices for that midfield. If it is a midfield 4, and if Ben Gannon-Doak's playing on the flank, what is Steve Clarke going to do? And there was some talk of the unthinkable almost of perhaps John McGinn dropping out. So I was wondering what Barry thinks about that.
Yeah, I can't see any way that John McGinn doesn't start that game on Saturday night, Sunday morning here. I would be absolutely flabbergasted if he's not in the team. And I think he will be in the team. And I think you're right, Alan. I think it'll be 2 up front. I think it'll be Shankland and Shea Adams, and probably that's, given how they played together against Bolivia, I think that would be the fair and correct decision. I'm a big fan of Ross Stewart, and I think that him and Shankland could make a good partnership. But Ross Stewart's clearly on the fringes of things at the minute, having just come into the squad. So I think Shankland and Adams, 4-4-2 is definitely the way to go. We're far more threatening with two players up front. Out of possession, Shankland can drop into the hole and in front of the midfield, and stiffen things up a little bit there and shore up some space. But in possession, 2 up front and attackers from midfield, I think is definitely the way to go for a Scottish team. So I would have Angus Gunn in goal. I would have a back 4 of Hickey right to left, Hickey right back, Suter and Hanley centre backs, Andy Robertson left back. Midfield 4, Ben Gannon-Doak on the right, McTominay and Christie in the middle, and McGinn on the left, Shankland and Shea Adams up front. The idea being McGinn on the left tucks in and allows Andy Robertson to scamper forward, and we get width down the left that side, and the width on the right side comes from Gannon Doak. And Christie, that's the one position I'm slightly unsure of. Would it be Christie? Would it be Kenny McLean for ball retention purposes? Lewis Ferguson's done very well. Does he deserve to play in there? I think it's more likely to be Christie.
I've got a feeling Lewis Ferguson might start in that position, but we'll see. Which would seem tough on Ryan Christie, but as we've said before, Graham, haven't we? It's very much going to be a squad game, and I don't think anybody should. It would be I'm sure John McGinn would be very disappointed if he was left out. But I suppose the players all have to understand that they have a part to play, and the subs will come on for a good half an hour towards the end, I'm sure. So it's going to be a 16-player game, isn't it?
It's really interesting when you look through. I was looking at how many major tournament appearances certain players have had and how much loyalty I suppose Steve Clarke has given to certain players. And you touched on Hanley before. Yeah, I think he started 5 of the 6 games over the past sort of 2 European tournaments, whereas Ryan Christie's actually only started 2 and played in 4. Obviously, Kieran Tierney's had injuries here and there, so he hasn't started many games. But I think there's only about 4 or 5 players that have started every single game at both the last European tournaments. So, and you wouldn't necessarily think Ryan Christie only started 2 games when you think about it. So, look, it is going to be a squad game, absolutely, and I think that's why you pick the 26 players that go there. But I think we've kind of ran up about our time, got a little bit extra today. But Alan, Barry, thanks so much for joining. Next time we speak, the World Cup will either be about to kick off or it has kicked off, and we'll be one day closer to Scotland returning to the World Cup for the first time since 1998. Thanks for joining. Both of you enjoy your nights, and speak to you soon.
Thank you.